Hello everyone, another video here on the channel. For those who haven't subscribed yet, please do, leave a like if you enjoy the content, share it, and feel free to leave a comment. Also, I invite everyone to get my ebook, which brings profound truths that every modern, high-value man needs to know. As usual, today we're going to talk a little about how society is designed to deceive us, and about waking up to what we call the matrix. This matrix is not just limited to aspects of women that are hidden from men in the West, but also applies to everyone who still believes in democracy, in egalitarianism, and in the idea that everyone is equal. It's the utopian belief that there are no stupid or ugly people. Often, this discourse on inequality has a Marxist tone, which I don't condemn, but the problem arises when it comes to the individual side, when you examine each person's position in society. People end up living in an illusion, in the so-called Dunning-Kruger effect, where someone is stupid but thinks they're intelligent. The cliches used to defend oneself from one's own stupidity are calamitous. Phrases like, "Oh, you're too radical," or, "each case is different," are constantly used, as is the idea that no one is better than anyone else. Society has become a monster of cope, a psychological defense mechanism. There's cope everywhere, even in the manosphere, where it appears when reality becomes too cruel. But in the blue pill world, cope is constant. People who don't know what cope is need to understand that it's a word that means masking reality with a kind of verbal caress to soften what reality really is. In a video about male beauty, I gave some examples of cope. The problem is that people, especially boomers, still fight against politicians and still believe in democracy. Why? Because reality, in a visceral, real way, is quite uncomfortable. I notice this and I want to know your opinion. That's why I always emphasize that you should feel free to use the comment section. Sometimes people say that the red pill is ugly, that when you take it you see the world in a different way, a path of no return. I agree. It's a path of no return, and you feel a bit out of place. But for me, hearing cliches and sophisms is much more irritating than reality itself, the more biological side they haven't told us about. I'm surprised at how people in the West live in a Narnia. And we realize that many of the people who have become rage pill or misanthropes did so because society has reached a level of insanity and dementia that is unbearable. Society has become insurmountable, there's no real way to face it anymore. As everyone knows, human history is a cycle of eras: slaves, merchants, masters, and warriors. Currently, we live in the era of slaves, not in the literal sense, but as slaves to desires. The individual works all week just to be anesthetized with moments of immediate pleasure, because everyone seeks instant gratification. And precisely because of this, people live in a paradox. We say we're in the era of promiscuity, but at the same time, people suffer and believe in love like never before. Everything gets complicated when you wake up and have to face situations, listening to people's lies, which makes dialogue impossible. You'll see many hypocritical women saying, "Beauty only matters for the first 2 minutes," or, "Personality is what matters." I want true love. Not to mention those who convert later and go to church to deceive the unwary who are looking for an honest wife. These blue pill guys from the church encounter girls who reset the odometer, and many other hypocrites. There will be a more red pill guy who is Christian and also goes to church, who will see this and won't be able to say anything or react. This is a very Christian problem, but it also existed in Greek, Roman, and even Aztec societies. In Greece, there wasn't this aggression, not in the sense of physical aggression, but of not being able to combat the hypocrisy and contradictions of society. Socrates, for example, was always arguing with the masses in Athens, pointing out their errors and calling them stupid. Today, we can't simply tell a person who thinks that the subtle art of not giving AFCK and Rich Dad Poor Dad are on the same level as Dostoevsky. People take these self-help books posted by cute girls on Instagram, or by deluded guys who think they'll get rich online, and compare them to the works of great authors. You ask if someone has ever read Machado de Assis, and the answer is, "I'm not a big reader." People don't want to be judged. I see many beautiful women who feel uncomfortable being judged for their beauty. Hence Myron's question from Fresh and Fit, "What do you bring to the table besides your looks?" Because sometimes the woman judges and says, "I bring to the table. I read a book, and the book she read doesn't even make sense." Then comes the cope, the victimhood. You think you're superior. No one is better than anyone else. No one is smarter than anyone else. Aristotle isn't smarter than the guy on the corner. Behind anything you say, you'll encounter a society where we can't say anything. It's not about political freedom of expression, but the simple question of saying that, in terms of cultural construction, a Gothic cathedral is much more beautiful than a modern building and is therefore superior. Society is designed to deceive you precisely because of this. You'll see a lot of stupidity on your Instagram, on your Facebook, at your job. It's not a matter of different opinions, it's a matter of ignorance. People no longer know what high culture is. It doesn't matter if you're a follower of Olavo de Carvalho or not, he defended this until his death. People have lost the notion of what high culture is. There is no longer a circle of intellectuals who talk among themselves. Gesse Souza, who is a guy the first really like, has also said this. In today's society, we are bombarded with all the news and lies, sophisms, and the infantilization of society. It's not just about waking up to the fact that women are more visual than men, that male beauty matters, that women are utilitarian, and that a woman's love is for her son, not for any husband. It's easy to deal with this. Once you wake up, you'll have peace in your life. The problem is that you will be constantly challenged by people who are talking nonsense. When you say, no, you're wrong, or, there's a biological basis that proves you're wrong, or, this phrase, as beautiful and politically correct as it may seem, the truth is a little more painful, people don't accept it. We are living in a society where people act like primates, or like, designer chimpanzees, as Kodama said. When society says something, people simply react without thinking. They think they're thinking for themselves, but they're not. I defend individuality here on the channel, but the majority are not individual. The individual has to deal with many things, and many men who are incel have to suffer to get a woman, and sometimes even have to pay for it. The guy is already bombarded with stimuli, with photos of women in bikinis, etc. I am in favor of accelerationism, so that we can enter the age of princes, so that men can have some peace. And still, the guy has to read a lot of nonsense. Men and women out there who haven't read anything want to dictate the direction of society. And when you stand against that, you're already labeled as, I don't know what, in the discussions on Twitter, Instagram, etc. The guy is at the mercy of anything he says that is a little more aggressive, in the sense of not offending, but of exposing undeniable biological realities in our environment. That's why I'm telling you, many of you will flirt with madness because you won't be able to go around telling people the truths of the red pill and black pill. Don't do it, not even with the people who live in your own home, or you'll make many enemies, because society still won't accept it and will want to cancel you. It's something calamitous. This video, I think, is the first where I'm just venting, because society is reaching a level of madness that I can't handle anymore. I'm going to make a shorter video today because I really needed to talk about this. I want to know your opinion. What do you think about people who think they're intelligent because they're reading 3 or 4 trendy books that a bunch of gurus out there have gotten rich from through randomness and unique abilities on the internet? The amount of hypocrisy is immense. Women who can't find a partner and are looking for a guy to talk about love, personality, the right person. Many deluded men also believe in marriage and politics. So, society is becoming unbearable, and that is a characteristic of the age of slaves. It's a hedonism that is different from Greek hedonism, where there was conflict in society, but there was still some intellectuality. Today, people don't even have that anymore. It's just hedonism all the time, everything is anesthesia, and for some, it's very expensive, and others can't do it. So the guy still has to read lies all the time. He can't deny it, he can't say that 2 + 2 is 4. So yes, things are getting unbearable, and you'll see that it will get worse in the coming years because it will still be a while before it collapses completely. I invite you to get my ebook, the link is in the description and also the QR code. See you in the next video. Forward, warriors.